Just stay, stay. Desmond. Okay.
Miss Jasmine, you look so pretty.
Thank
Doesn't
you. Thank you.
Yes.
The sun is out more here in Nashville now. So
Yeah.
love it. I feel the spring weather. I feel it's coming. It's coming slowly but surely. And so spring and summer, those are my seasons. That's when I like to get into the fashions. Even though I'm only doing it to walk around the house, it's okay.
Right.
It's like just get
Yeah.
cute to work from home but it feels good to feel this feeling again because for like the
Yes.
past year I've just been wearing a mask and like sweatpants and sweatshirts. So it feels good.
Definitely
So,
miss the good feeling weather.
so,
Yes.
so fire. Jasmine was my friend too.
Yeah.
Me and
Oh
Jasmine, me and
my
Jasmine
God.
been friends about 15 years now.
Yes.
We lived in the same building.
Yeah. We were
It's
young.
Really?
Yeah.
happened
It's a
last
small
year
world.
because of Desmond.
Now look
Yeah.
at y'all.
Right. We met on the elevator and that's it.
oh
Wow.
That was it.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very grateful for Desmond. He's an awesome friend.
He really
Mr.
Awesome.
Desmond must got really good energy about him to have, well, or all of y'all must have really good energy for y'all to all be involved. But I just say, it says a lot about Mr. Desmond to have, Miss Kiara and Miss Jasmine as your friends.
He's
Oh,
amazing.
look. Yes, yes, yes. Jasmine is amazing, amazing. But yes, Desmond, don't forget that. Okay.
I, you know what? Have a good show.
Have a good show.
Thank you, so fire.
I want to be friends now too. I want to be friends too now. Look, just add me
Okay.
You
on the group.
are.
Add me
We
in the
You,
group.
you are. We are all connected.
No, I know. So we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to end the polling. Um, Only a couple of people said something in the poll, but my question was, how many are familiar with Reiki? And I'm so excited about this because I still remember the first time I explored Reiki. It was in 2009 or 10. I think it was the end of 2009. And I was going through life changes. And my counselor at a holistic counseling center, he suggested that I try it. And I'm like kind of apprehensive, like I don't know what it was. And I remember I showed up. When I showed up, it was kind of awkward because I felt out of place. Because as most times, I'm always the only Black female somewhere. So I'm the only Black female. In addition, just I don't know, it was just everything about that room, but I felt such love and such this great feeling, but I just kind of felt out of place because I'm like, do I know what they're doing? Do I know the terminology they're using? Like, what are they doing? But I continued and I continued going throughout 4 years. And I think that it assisted me with growth as a person in my professional life. I mean, in my personal life, but also growth in my professional life because I could see that some of the things that I was learning in my holistic environment with Reiki and in my counseling session, I was able to take into my professional life to, when you get into certain areas of your professional life, when you become stressed, I was able to learn how to de stress because of what I learned during those sessions. So, I want to open up and just say thank you both so much, Jasmine Dominique and Sapphire Nelson, for joining us today and helping us to explore what Reiki is. And the first question that I have for you, I sent out to our guests. I sent them out the bio of who you all are. And I want you all to share with our guests what you feel they need to know about who you are.
Thank you, Miss Kiara, so much for having me up here. I just love you so much. This is amazing. I love this show. I love what you're doing. This is amazing. So it's such an honor to even be up here. So thank you first and foremost for that. My name's Sapphire. I'm a medical social worker at a hospital. I am Reiki 2 certified, and what I feel they need to know about me, I feel, like I said, I really do feel like I've been called to a higher purpose that was, that is newly revealing itself to me. I've always been interested in social work and counseling and helping people, but I'm just so thankful to learn, after I'm diving into Reiki, I'm so thankful to learn that, I can have a deeper sense of healing and helping the people that I'm already working with. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Hi everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much, Kiera, for having us. I have been excited about this moment for a while, so I'm really excited to be here. My name is Jasmine Dominique, and I'm a Reiki master. I have served in the community for about 5 years now, and all that I can say is that knowing about this work, delving into this work, sharing this work with others has been a transformative experience for me. I really want people to know that we have been doing this work with our hands, with energy, the transference of energy for a very long time. So this is not new. Our ancestors did this a long time ago in order to provide healing for themselves and for others as well. So what I want people to know is that healing is possible. Healing is possible if you open your minds and your heart and your spirit. Healing is possible. And when we heal ourselves, it's not only for us, it's for those that have come and for those that are coming too. And Reiki has given me that revelation. So,
yes, healing.
Yeah.
So go ahead and start with my first question for you all. And I want to start off with Jasmine. Discuss Reiki and how you began your journey.
Woo.
Well, great question.
And I like to keep it real and raw. So I'm just going to give it to you.
Whatever you feel up to sharing.
Yeah. I like to just be really candid because I want people to know that, I'm not this person that was just healthy and healed and vibrant. And no, I delved more into Reiki because I was messed up and I needed to go a bit deeper. And I lived in Brazil for 2 years. And in Brazil, I was actually introduced to Reiki. Where I lived in Salvador, Bahia, the people are spiritual people. It's just natural. A lot of the descendants that live in Salvador, Bahia are descendants of those that were enslaved. And so they were brought over to Brazil during the transatlantic slave trade. And they held on to a lot of the traditions and the culture. And you see that every day there. It's natural. And so naturally, I was surrounded by energy healers, Reiki healers every single day. And I studied capoeira, which is like Brazilian martial arts. It's Brazilian martial arts, but it's focused a lot on understanding your own energy, understanding the energy of other people. And they used capoeira to understand energy and physical aspects as well during the period of slavery so that they could defend themselves against the slave masters, right? And so I studied that while I was there. And then I'm attuned into the Dr. Mikao Usui lineage. Dr. Mikao Usui is from Japan, or was from Japan. But I also study a lot of the Kemetic and Egyptian principles of energy healing. And I just put it all together. And then I came back home and my teacher found me. I don't remember the conversation. I don't remember agreeing to be in her. I don't remember like how it went. I was in her class and she looked at me and she said, Jasmine, after you receive these attunements, your life is going to change very quickly. And I was like, girl, whatever. Come on, let's do this. But no, my life changed immediately after I received my final attunement from my teacher. And, Reiki is, again, it's very ancestral. If we are drawn to Reiki, usually when we investigate and delve a bit deeper, we find people in our family that have always used their hands, you know, whether it was for cooking or sewing or praying over you, like we're drawn to it for a reason. And it has been a part of us for so long. So that's how my path began. It began in Brazil, and then I brought it back to the United States. And then I had to come back home because I was running. When I left to live in Brazil, it was like, all right, this is too much. I just need to get away. I need to soul search. I need to find myself. And that's what I did. Well, you know, that was beautiful, but we need to return to our roots in order to do the real healing, right? And so I came back home, and after I was attuned, I just wanted to get out in the community, into my community, to share this work with others. And I've done Reiki for my grandmother, you know, which was very transformative for us all. So I see the power not only for myself, but I see it for other people too. And I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Thank you. That's really powerful.
Yes.
And so far, I want to ask you the same question, but I want to begin your question with, I know for you, I'm familiar with you. We have a relationship with each other. And I know that one of the ways that you actually started to meditate was because of your son.
Yes.
He taught you how to meditate. So I
Right.
want to, you know, kind of link the questions up. Do you think that Isaiah had something to do with you even being able to open your mind and your heart and your soul to Reiki?
I'm about to start crying because, you know, God definitely has a plan mapped out for all of us, and he aligns us with people that you know are meant to be. And I'm meant to be Isaiah's mom, and I'm so blessed to have him in my life. You know, he's 8 now, but about 2 years ago, he would go outside and sit in the grass and be out there meditating, and I'm like, it's hot out there, you know, come on in, you're gonna get burnt up. He out there with no shirt on. I said, well, what are you doing? I'm meditating. Where he got that from, I don't know, because I had never meditated. And I'm not gonna say I had never meditated, but that's what I'm saying. Well, I'm a therapist, and so we're always encouraging our clients to meditate. And you don't never know the power of it until you actually dive into it for yourself. And so I had done some brief meditations, but I had never gotten deep into meditation until last year. And so it transformed my life. And to be transparent, I tell people, like, you know, like Miss Jasmine said, I haven't always been this person. And so I tell them, I say, you know, meditation has gotten me higher than anything. So just to understand it, and it's brought me closer to God. And so, like Miss Jasmine said, it's deep and it's ancestral, and I'm appreciative of it. And so my son, I thank God for being aligned so that I can be his mother and he can be my son. And he has taught me so many things. And that's one of our favorite things to do, is to go outside, enjoy the sunshine, sit out there in the quietness. And he loves to play in the grass. It's just so beautiful. Like, I just love it.
So tell me, where did you begin your Reiki journey?
My Reiki journey started, you know, under some unfortunate circumstances. My sister had gotten very, very sick, and she was in my house here, and we were going through it with her all night long. And I'm just there with her, you know, all night, and just seeing her reaction and just seeing how she was moving. And this is after I had started meditation and getting deeper into my, you know, being in alignment with God and becoming more spiritual. And becoming more intuitive, something just told me, like, this is deeper, this is spiritual, something's going on, she got something on her, not like a nothing demonic or nothing, but she's sick, and this is on another level. And so after that, we of course she was given a diagnosis, but it just kind of made me feel helpless because it was so tragic, and I was just kind of like, oh my God, I felt hopeless. Because I'm very close to my sister, and I kind of felt like, what can I do? What can I do? Like, oh my gosh, like, I'm big sis. Like, I'm supposed to be able to help her. And so going into prayer and the meditation, Reiki just continued to present itself to me in a weird way. It would just show up on my feed. People was talking about it on my feed. I'm like, Reiki, what's that? Then I started Googling it. I started Googling healing, and it just kind of led me down a rabbit hole. And so I said, well, let me see if it's Reiki here in Greensboro, whatever it is, if it's a person or, what have you. So come to find out, it's a Reiki practitioner about 2 miles away from my home. I'll go to her for my first session. And like you, don't know what I'm stepping into, don't know what she's going to be doing. And she didn't look like me. She was a Caucasian lady who practices Americano music with her husband on the guitar and the banjo. And she's a beautiful person and she's a beautiful woman. So I'm laid back in the chair and she just starts moving her hands over me and I'm crying my entire session. And I'm like, what is going on? This is something else. Like, it blew my mind. And because I had been so invested into my sister's health while she was going through it, I too had started becoming sick because of the stress. And so we're up in there with the mask. I'm telling her, like, I promise you, I don't have corona. I'm just coughing because I've been sick from it and under a lot of stress. And she's like, it's okay. So the entire time I'm just crying and the amount of release I felt and how light I felt after my session, I said, oh my gosh, like I really feel lighter. I feel like she lifted something off of me. And I said, oh my gosh, I wish I could do this for so many of my clients. It's so much heaviness that our clients and people that I work with have on them. And I'm like, I kind of felt like I've been giving them a Band-Aid. Coping skills are great and I don't knock that at all. Therapy is wonderful. But now I have a duty. Now I feel like I have a job. Like, okay, I've been exposed to Reiki. Now I have an obligation to go further into this. Because I do feel like we have a higher purpose here on earth. And so I became attuned to a Sui lineage like Miss Jasmine. And that's where it all started.
See, that's beautiful. And both of you kind of tell your first stories of, when you first were introduced to Reiki. I still remember mine. Like, I still remember it was a group Reiki session. And I just remember like, wow, I got up and I just felt like 1,000,000 pounds lighter. Like, I know I was getting headaches. I was so stressed out because of what I was going through at that time. And it was like, wow, this feels so good. And I would go to work and hang out with friends. And my phrase is always Hakuna Matata. And they're like, how are you always Hakuna Matata when things are going on? And I'm like, it's life, because I was practicing and I could see the difference then. And even now, as I'm transitioning to a new journey, I can see how I need to go back into having, I guess, forming a bond with Reiki again. And so my question for you all is, my next question is, many of us, especially being that I walk into a room and it's people that don't look like me, they're almost like eccentric. They're different, even their attitudes are so welcoming. And especially during this time, this climate, because it's mostly white women. My question for you is, how would you encourage people when they have apprehensions about trying to go into something new, such as Reiki? How would you encourage women particularly, because this is Women's Month? I'm assuming, I'm looking at the guests. I know some of the guests, they are Black women. So how would you encourage us to be open-minded and go into something that could potentially help us?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll just say this: don't always trust what you see on Google. Google search. Seriously, I remember one of my students reached out to me and she said it took me forever. I had to find you on Facebook because when I Googled Black Reiki specialist, I couldn't find any Black Reiki specialists. And so just know that we're out there. We're out there. We are out there. And we're ready to serve the community. Again, I think I say this a lot because I think it's just so important for us to hear this. This is what our ancestors did. This is what our ancestors did. I mean, there are traces of us doing this in ancient Kemet, Egypt, which is Africa. way before Dr. Mikao Usui rediscovered what energy healing is. And so we have been doing this for eons, and I just think it's important for us to hear that and important for us to know that. Something else that I want to say too is Reiki is all about energy and intuition, energy and intuition. So we focused a lot on delving into the spirit, moving past the physical, um, healing, and really delving into the spiritual, right? And so I think it's all about the connection. It really is about the connection. And I know, I definitely think that we deserve to be comfortable. We deserve to feel safe when we're working with the specialist. And yeah, we deserve to have our preferences. But more than anything, trust the connection, right? If you feel more of a connection with a 4 foot, white male, right? Like, trust that. And some of us aren't at that point. So if you want to work specifically with a Black person, work specifically with a Black person, but trust what you feel, right? I do want to say this too. Just because a person is Black, or just because you are seeking a person of color, don't just go with the first person that you see or that you meet. Trust what you feel. Reiki is about connecting with what we feel, right? Beyond the physicality of things, trusting what we feel.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
Definitely important. Whenever I have a new person inquire about Reiki to me or ask to receive a Reiki session, I appreciate that level of trust that they're putting into me, because a lot of people are not familiar with Reiki. So for them to trust me enough to say, hey, I'm open to this, that kind of means a lot to me. And I just would say to Black women or people of color, I would say, when I first got into Reiki, a lot of the books I read said Reiki will find you. You don't have to go out looking for Reiki. Reiki will find you, and it'll align with you with whoever you need to meet at that person. My first Reiki master, I appreciate her, and she served her purpose. Then I talked to you, and then I met Miss Jasmine, and I'm meeting other people, more and more people that are invested into Reiki. And I'm thankful for that. And I would just tell people I would just kind of encourage them to not let the name scare you, because you hear the word Reiki and it sounds like a foreign language. Don't let that scare you or deter you from getting into Reiki or to trying a session out. Yes, it does mean life force energy flow, but it can also be translated into other things, because like Miss Jasmine says, our ancestors have been doing this for so long. It's in our blood. Like she said, they do it with their hands, and the cooking and the healing and the laying hands. My grandmother, she had a garden. She had a green thumb. And I was like, grandma had that healing hand. And, I just, when people ask me about it, I explain it. I say, it's just like in church, things you were brought up with. It's nothing new. It's just an unfamiliar term, and that has a Japanese lineage. And I like to explain it as, I'm allowing myself to be a hollow vessel. I'm out of it. This has nothing to do with me. I am letting, and this is how I explain for people that may be iffy, I'm letting the Holy Spirit, or I'm letting God's love, I'm letting the Creator's love flow through me. Like, I'm out of it. Onto you. And it's a beautiful connection. And we do use our intuition to guide us where it needs to go, because Reiki is an intellectual energy.
I want to delve a little bit deeper into some of the benefits of Reiki, because we all have talked about when we were at a low point in our lives, that's when we were pretty much introduced to Reiki. So share with us some of the benefits of Reiki. I'm looking at one of the comments from Shamika Ingram. She says that she was introduced last fall when her energy was being pulled into all kinds of directions. And I'm assuming it helped ground her. So now something that she actually intends to do quarterly. And so, help us as guests understand some of the benefits.
Yeah, well, it depends on what that person's soul is seeking. I always say, You know, it depends on what that person's spirit is seeking. Reiki helps us to align more fully with our spiritual, or I say our higher self, you know, as above, so below. Reiki is the medium between the two. Some people receive Reiki simply because they just want to chill and relax, right? And just, you know, take a good nap. That's cool. Some people receive Reiki because they're ready to delve more deeply into the parts of them that have been repressed or suppressed or traumatized. And so Reiki can really help us to bring our trauma to the surface, because with awareness, we have more power. And when we have awareness and more power, we can create shifts in our lives. And so benefit definitely healing trauma, healing generational trauma. I serve primarily African American women, and I can honestly say that 98% have experienced sexual trauma. So Reiki can really help us to get to the root, right? And when we get to the root, when we dig deeply with Reiki, we notice that a lot of our thought patterns, a lot of our behavioral patterns are ancestral, generational. And then I work a lot with clients with connecting that to patterns that were developed during the period of slavery. And so it helps us to bring all of that stuff to the surface. And it's like opening up Pandora's box, right? It's not always comfortable. That's why I do suggest having a counselor by your side if you want to delve deeply with Reiki, but it helps us to bring our stuff to the surface so that we don't have to carry it on our shoulders anymore. So we can relax, we can heal, we can open up dialogue with ourselves first and with God. We can open up dialogue with our families, with our significant others, and be more or dwell more in our authentic selves. We can be our authentic selves. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. It's mental, spiritual, physical, on all different levels. It just amazes me every time. Reiki does not cease to amaze me after every session. Like, for example, my mom was open to allowing me giving her a Reiki session. And she's so funny. She was like, "Girl, I felt it." And I was like, like it's working. And my mom suffers from pain and insomnia or just sleep issues and a lot of stuff. And the next day she woke up ready. Like, me and my son were in the room doing some yoga. And usually she wakes up stiff like this and stuff. The next morning she's up like touching her toes. And she was like, "Girl, I feel so." She was like, "Girl, it must have been the Reiki." I was like, "That's amazing." And just hearing about some of the things that you go through after even receiving a Reiki session, you can for me, I have headaches for some reason, and I know some people who may have like soreness. But that's a part of the healing process. You are kind of considered like open or raw. Like, you've kind of, I think, taken off. I don't know how to explain it because Reiki is just so mysterious to me. But just seeing the physical benefits of it is amazing. And, you know, like I said, Reiki is so smart. It knows exactly what we need, even when we don't know what we need. Sometimes when I do self Reiki, I just notice tears, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I thank you because you know where it needs to be, and you know it's pulling off of me. So it's healing on all different levels.
Yes, I want to say something really quickly. Thank you so much for what you said. It reminded me to share that energy tells us or teaches us that everything manifests first in the spiritual realm or in the energetic realm, right? As above, so below. And so through Reiki, if we're taking care of our spirits, if we're taking care of our energy, we all have energy and aura around us, which is why we can feel vibes. We can sense people, right? We're sensing their energy, their spirit. And so if we're taking care of our energy first, we can prevent, the manifestation of mental health diseases and physical health diseases if we learn how to listen more to our spirits. And so Reiki just is the guide that helps us to do that.
I agree.
That kind of leads me to a follow-up question too. All of us are HBCU grads. So far, We are products of North Carolina A&T State University. Aggie
Aggie Pride.
Jasmine, she's a product of Tennessee State University. HBCU pride. So my question is, many of us that attended HBCUs, we were in a sense first generational students. So we do have a lot of the issues that you discussed earlier, Jasmine, where we're products of our ancestors, so we were products of a lot of horrible things in our, in our lives. So how could we promote Reiki with HBCUs and, Epiphany is an education platform, and even thinking even bigger, how could we even promote this at Title I schools? Our schools where our students are failing behind, and majority of them are, Black males and females, even Latino males and females. And it's because of the issues that have stemmed from their ancestors. So how can we do that?
Yeah, I think Reiki is
a hypothetical question, but
No, that's a great question. That's a great question. One of the many reasons why I love Reiki energy healing is because it guides us back to ourselves. And it encourages us to take accountability and responsibility for our reality, right? And in order to do that, we need to delve more deeply into ourselves to see what the foundation is looking like, right? So Reiki is so strongly connected to mindfulness and just being present with yourself, feeling yourself, hearing yourself, trusting yourself. And I think that a lot of young people, especially a lot of young people that come from a traumatic background, they just need to learn how to trust themselves. And after they learn how to trust themselves more, they can trust the environment that surrounds them.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I was in school, nobody taught me how to have a dialogue with myself. I didn't know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
No one taught me how to slow down and how to breathe and to connect with what I'm feeling in my body. No one taught me how to connect to where I was holding on to tension and trauma in my body, right? Because my ancestors didn't really have the opportunity to do that, but now we do. And I think that our babies, they just need to know that it's okay for them to have a relationship with themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. And I do, and as a college student, we have so much packed on us, or so much packed on them. Not only do they have studies, but the peer pressures and the society and the social media is so much on them that they don't have a time to sit down and listen to themselves and to just breathe and to be here, like. And I think that's where a lot of that depression and anxiety manifests. Like your spirit is out of tune, it's out of whack. It's saying, help me. Like, I'm not right. I'm not okay. And you're just wondering, like, because I used to suffer from really bad depression, anxiety. And, being here now and today, that was my spirit saying, I'm not comfortable where I'm at. Something's not right. Pay me more attention. I need some time. I need some focus. And so being able to be mindful and present in the moment. One day my son was meditating and I just could not slow my mind down. I could not just clear my mind. And I say, Isaiah, how do you sit here? Like, how do you sit here? Tell me like a secret, a key, a hint. And he's like, try focusing on the sounds of the wind. And I say, okay, that's what I can do. And giving more into a meditation, they remind us, bring yourself back to the breath. Bring yourself back to something that you can focus on outside of your own thoughts. And I try not to listen to a lot of music with a lot of I listen to regular music, but sometimes I allow myself time and space to maybe listen to just instrumentals or to just ride in the car with no music, to just try to clear my mind. And I think if, there were more education and more, maybe some focus groups could be helpful to college students to kind of help them learn more about mindfulness and to just be with yourself. And just, it's a lot going on out here. Just take some time to come back here.
And when I thought about having you both up here, that was one of the things that I thought about. The benefits of Reiki for our high school students, our middle school students, our elementary school students, because you find so many of, like, one of my passions is the school to prison pipeline. So I'm always looking at how our Black boys, our Black girls, our Latino males, our Latino females, how they're always getting into trouble because the teachers can't tend to understand them. So something that for us, it may not bother me as an educator. It may not even bother you all as therapists, but for a white teacher, it bothers them because it's out of their norm. So how could we bring this into the schools so that they can feel better about themselves? Because once they're constantly beat down, beat down, beat down, they do eventually go into the prison pipeline, or they do tend to drop out of school, or they do, tend to do something that we're trying to steer them from. We want them to go positive. So, that was one of the questions I had. How could we even implement this into the school system? Do you even think it's possible?
Absolutely. I think it's possible. But I think first, we need to make sure that the schools are safe spaces for our children. And, because our children want to be vulnerable. They want to be heard. They want to be creative. They want to be respected. Unfortunately, I just think that there are not enough safe spaces that allot, the space for our children to do that. And I think teachers, it's important for teachers to understand, especially when they're working with Black and brown children, that our genetic makeup is very different. The way that we perceive our realities, it's different because of our ancestral makeup. We come from people that connected with nature.
Memory.
Yeah, that genetic memory is strong. We come from people that connect with nature. We come from people that have relationships with the sun, the moon, the stars. We come from people that love rhythm and music and colors, right? And so we need more of that in our schools. And I think that once our children feel that it's safe, that they can connect to those aspects, those things, we'll notice a difference. But I always tell children, because children love touch. We all love touch.
Mm-hmm.
All love touch. I think that sometimes things happen in our lives that cause us to tense up and to become protective of ourselves. But naturally, when we are aligned with our natural selves, which are peaceful, harmonious, balanced, vulnerable, open, receptive, we love touch. And so I encourage children, if they're feeling antsy or frustrated, take your hands and just place them. You can place them anywhere, on your heart, and just breathe. Place your hands on your head and just breathe, right? Just take a moment and to connect.
I love it. We should all do that. Can we take a moment just to connect?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to guide us? Do we just put our hands on our heart?
Yeah, you can place your hands on your heart. And when you place your hands on your heart, feel your heartbeat. Feel your heartbeat. And know that that heartbeat is being governed and protected and fueled by a beautiful power that loves us all so much. Some people call this power God. Some people call this power the Holy Spirit, the chi, the prana, right? Whatever you want to call it, that's fine. But there is a universal power and energy that fuels us every single day. So just feel that energy pour into your heart through your hands, and know that that energy, that spirit, that presence is with you at all times.
Yes.
Feel it.
Mm-hmm. That's that love.
Feel it. I have a follow-up question. And after this follow-up question, I want to I've never done this before, but I want to open up questions for our guests. Because I'm sure that our guests have questions for you all. And so, because it's such an intimate group, I want to make sure I'm allowing them to ask questions. So as I ask this last question to our guests, if you have any questions for Sophia or Jasmine Dominique, please put them in the chat box so we can read them off. But my question for you all is, are there any challenges with being a Black woman, facilitating or practicing? Do I say facilitate or do I say practicing?
What?
You facilitate a session.
Okay,
Right.
and why do you feel that there are these challenges?
I kind of feel as though maybe sometimes our counterparts are exposed to things that we may not yet have the privilege of just yet, whether that come from generational fear, our family members or people before us kind of maybe instilling a fear of our own sense of being into us, a fear of who we really are and where we come from. I feel like that has kind of posed a resistance in us being open to and being as prominent in the Reiki community. So when I go out and I'm in a class currently, and I'm the only person of color there. I'm in another Reiki class, and I'm the only person of color there. And I just kind of, even though maybe I feel like maybe they were privileged to be exposed to that maybe more before me. If that was the case, I'm not sure. I haven't asked them, but it is so many of our counterparts that are involved in Reiki and that are involved in things like this. And you know, the more holistic and the more things that are healthier for us, I think it can maybe involve maybe some form of privilege sometimes.
Do you think that, and I'm sorry, just follow up for you, Sophia, but do you think that you said it does, it pretty much is a form of privilege. Like, you know, we are allowing our sons, you have a son, I have a son. So my son, when he gets stressed, he'll sit and I can see him just drawing. So he'll have this iPad, or he has a new iPad where he has all of these programs up there that draw, or he always has like a little book. His book is his little art book where he'll sketch out things. And so we teach them how to just sit still, be mindful, be still. We teach them that. But oftentimes, particularly, I'm even thinking about our little boys, they're not allowed to do something like that. We don't allow them to just sit still. We're always forcing them to, no, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. So, you know, maybe it's because our peers of a different color, you know, they introduce their kids to maybe more mindful solutions.
Mm-hmm. I was going to add that, you know, the virtual learning experience that we just had last year, due to COVID, it was a blessing. I got to actually observe and to learn and see my son in a learning environment. And I got to observe what may have been bothering him in a classroom setting. And so being able to be, you know, learning your child, I think that's one thing. You know, sometimes it's having it in the classroom or having those interventions in the classroom is very healthy and very much helpful. But as a parent, and, you know, if you have children, learning your child and being present with your child and learning their mannerisms and learning their attitudes and behaviors is very important. So that way, maybe you can communicate that with the teacher. Like I communicate that with my son's teacher, and I don't want to embarrass him or make it seem like he has special needs, but I expressed to them that Isaiah, you know, may get easily overwhelmed or what have you, but that was as a result of me learning him and being able to observe him. So I just wanted to add that, but what was the question? I forgot.
It's okay. You really did. Like, just because we're allowing them that opportunity to find ways.
And then we have moms out here that are working jobs and that are working several jobs and are so stressful. They may not have the mind capacity. They may not be that in that place or that position just yet to say, to have a moment with their child, to have a breath with their child, because they don't have a breath themselves.
Yeah. And, you know, thank you. That my mind is like processing all of that good wisdom that you just shared. I think definitely privilege and access and to representation. You know, I was talking about Google, and it's really interesting. I haven't done this in a while, but I know that when I started my journey, when I Googled and looked for Black Reiki specialists, I couldn't find any. And so, representation is super, super important, and showing up in these spaces, even though we might be a bit uncomfortable sometimes, but to let people know that, hey, we're here too. I think that is important. And also reminding people of the origin, where it all began is very important too. I also want to say something that I come across when working in the community is fear. The fear of, what is this? Is it demonic? Is it wrong?
I know.
Da, 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 da. I don't know what this is, right? Reiki is not affiliated with any specific religion at all. And as a matter of fact, I grew up in the Southern Black Church, and I'm proud of that. I was raised. This is what I saw growing up, people catching the Holy Ghost, right? And I witnessed the pastor and, the prophets and the prophetess. I witnessed them putting hands on people, transferring energy.
Extend your hand out. Yes.
So we do this naturally. I understand the fear, though. I think in our country, Black folk, people of color, have been exploited so much, and kind of manipulated. But
they flip it around on you, try to make it seem like.
Right. Yeah, manipulated, and sometimes given information that wasn't true or accurate for the benefit of other people, right? And so I understand the fear, but again, we are spiritual people regardless. Our ancestors were spiritual people. And so I think that if we just remember that, we can break down some of the barriers. It's all
what kind of world I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Good.
Know what kind of world we're operating in. This is a money-making world system. You know what I'm saying? So, why? And this may be going off subject, but why would they give you the tools? Or Lord, I don't want to sound, like I'm trying to pinpoint, but y'all, I think I'll know what I'm talking about. But why would they give you the tool to heal yourself or heal your people? They can't make money off of that. The business can't make money off of that. So I feel like that's also another barrier as to why people may not be as exposed.
Absolutely, because if people are honoring their spirit, their energy, right, we're not going to see the rates for certain physical ailments and mental health ailments they're naturally going to decrease. Well, if those illnesses decrease in our society, people aren't going to make as much money, right?
And so, going to lose.
Yeah, if people are healing and taking care of themselves, we will not need medical professionals as much as we do, right? If we're diagnosing a person based on what is happening to them energetically, the psychotropics, right, our pharmacies, right, they will be put out of business. And so, sick people make money for other people. Yeah, so I think that we still have but I'm happy. I think we're living in the midst of a great awakening. I really do. And I feel like people are really starting to seek information and to do this. Yeah, and to learn more about different things and to find what works for them, mind, body, and spirit. And when we do that, we take our power back. So it's happening slowly but surely.
Oh my God, I'm loving it. Like, I don't want to leave you all. Like, I learned so much from you all. Our guests, there are some of you all up here. Do you have any questions for Jasmine or Sophia? If you do, please put them in the chat box. One of the things that I do for therapy is I write, I blog. And I started blogging, and I remember the first blog that I did, I was so nervous. I was nervous because I was sharing my entire journey, and I was petrified. And I actually remember I texted to Sophia. I shared.
I was ready to say, I remember your first one.
The very first blog I did, my therapist told me you should share your story because your story is powerful. And I was overwhelmed. I was nervous. I had just won Teacher of the Year. It was just like, I don't want to, I'm not ready. But for me, my therapy has been writing. And sometimes my writing is not always so nice, because I do share things that I don't know, it's whatever's on my heart, I share. And I'm sharing this because one of the things that we do for this session, I always gift things. So we always do at the end, the last 5-10 minutes, we always do a raffle, and I'm actually going to raffle off one of my books. I turned my blog into a book, and it was very nerve-wracking for me, kind of like what we talked about, just not knowing, that apprehension of not knowing. It was the same, like, well, what if people judge me? What if this? What if that? Then I'm thinking to myself, what about if it affects my career? I didn't put anything that was bad in a book, but that's the way I cope. So just trying to open up doors so that people will know we're going to raffle off today. And I do have someone that put something in there. I'm currently working with my doctor, therapist, etc., for a holistic life. It's been a journey, and I'm definitely interested in learning more about this concept. However, I still have issues being physically touched. Any suggestions as how I can overcome that?
Distance Reiki.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And two, when you receive Reiki, the specialist should ask if they have permission to touch you or not, right? And so there are healthy boundaries that are implemented when we do this work. Reiki can be hands-on, but it doesn't have to be hands-on. They can actually do a full treatment for you without even touching you. So yeah, that option is there. That option is definitely there. It's all about you.
First experience of Reiki, that's what it was. It was no touch.
Yeah.
It was no touch at all. And I want you both, I know that you all provide Reiki sessions, and I think that you both provide virtual sessions. So I'm going to make sure I share that. So if someone wants to purchase your sessions, or to reach out to you when I send the guest the follow-up emails tomorrow, I'll make sure I have your contact information so that they can reach out to you, because I know both of you all are both excellent. Another question is, I'm a single mother of 3 children. I'm Reiki level 1. I'm just learning. I've experienced so much trauma in my life that I'm happy to say I've survived. Sometimes I feel disconnected. How do I stay connected? How do I ask the spirit a question and actually listen for the answer instead of my ego answering? Wow.
I feel like we all have had that issue. And sometimes, well, what I'm finding is that sometimes I might get the answer right then and there, or after I go in and I ask, God or my guides for question, for guidance, I might get the answer the day later on the day or days after, just again, being tuned into your intuition and being tapped in and paying attention to around you, being mindful of around you, because you might miss a hint or a signal, or as to where you need to go or where you need to be or how you may need to listen. So I think it comes with practice. That's not I'll face that same issue, wondering, is it me that gave that answer, or is it God, or what? So just learning to, it's a process, learning to quiet my mind and being able to decipher, and being able to empty my mind and asking, say, I'm open to, you. I welcome your answer. I welcome your solution. Please present the solution to me.
And I do that when I pray, actually. And I know you also mentioned this is Isaiah told you to do. How do you quiet your mind? Just listen to the wind.
Yeah. Find something to listen to.
Yeah. And I want to,
and we actually have a guest up here that's in Germany. Hi, Shamika. And Shamika shares that virtual Reiki is definitely beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing about energy, one thing about the Holy Spirit is that it is not confined to space nor time. Reiki is very much intentional work. So if the intention is there, the rest will follow. And as you said earlier, Sophia, like Reiki is intelligent. It's supreme intelligence. It's the energy that created the moon, the sun, the stars, us, right? So it knows where to go and it knows what to do. I also wanted to add to breath, like focusing on our breath, tuning into our breath throughout the day, right? We live in a really fast-paced society. We're always moving fast. But when we're breathing with that pace or in that pace or in that rhythm, the body is in shock. It doesn't know what to do. It's like, okay, where am I going? What's happening? And so just taking time throughout our day to tap in and tune into where we are with our breath. Our breath is a messenger. It's letting us know what is happening with us mentally and emotionally. I always encourage women to breathe from the core of your womb. Sometimes we breathe from our chest. When we breathe from the core of our womb, that can be transformative because it's a creative zone. It's not only where we give physical life or nurture physical life, it's where we create. It's a power zone. So I just encourage us all to just tap more into that space.
I love her.
Thank you. And that was a question that Shamika had too. Are you any tips on practicing breathing? I want to, before I end, I want to go ahead and do the raffle. And if we have a couple of minutes left, because everyone knows that I love to end on time because I know many people are taking lunch breaks. But I want to go ahead and do the wheel. This is always fun. I think we have Pam up here. Pam, are you here?
Yay, the wheel is on fire. Come on.
She always wins.
So Pam is our hype woman. I'm going to raffle off one of my books. The book is this thing called Life, Embrace It. So I'm going to raffle off a book and I'm just going to spin the wheel. So let's see. Come on, Pam.
Spin the wheel, spin the wheel, spin the wheel, spin the wheel. Yeah, spin the wheel. Come on, Kiara, spin the wheel.
It's
Yay! It's Keisha up here.
Hallelujah. I won. I am a winner. Do you hear me?
Congratulations.
I pulled that energy to me and I said, Keisha.
So Keisha, if you will either email me your address, I will make sure it gets in the mail to you within the next couple of weeks. I've been very, very slow with mailing things off lately, but you will have it shortly. The post office has obviously been very slow. And when I get there, sometimes the line is just really, really long. But if you send me your address, I will make sure you have a book.
Thank you so much. Is there a specific address I send it to? Or I can get with my Reiki teacher, Miss Jasmine Dominique, who attuned me 2 times, my second attunement, and I will get the information from her.
I think I sent out an email to everyone this morning. I don't know if you.
I got that one. Okay.
If you just respond to that, I'll make sure I have your email address.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Yay, thank you.
Yes. And we have one question, but before you all answer the question, we have like 3 minutes left. I want to thank you all so much. I really, truly want to thank you and SoFire, Jasmine and SoFire, for being a panelist today and sharing with us, your Reiki experiences and everything else that you have blessed us with. I am just so overwhelmed with just amazing knowledge. And I know that our guests are too. And someone else said HBCU love. Yes, go ahead and shout out your HBCU in the chat. Go ahead and shout out TSU Tigers. And we had Aggies. Yes, Aggie Pride. So they have one question. Does diet affect your experience?
Yes.
The short answer is yes.
Food is energy.
Food
is energy. Everything is energy. Food is energy, and so we need food. We need foods that come from the earth. We need foods that are grown in the earth. Somebody actually did a study. If I find the picture, I'll send it to you, Kier. Maybe you can share with everybody. But they took a picture of this person's energetic field, because we all have an aura, an energetic layer around us. And they took a picture of a person's aura or energy that was eating like a lot of fast food. And they took a picture of someone who was eating healthy foods that come from the earth, and their auras look completely different. The person that was eating the natural foods had an aura that was just big and vibrant. And so, yes, foods definitely.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I just, again, want to thank you all again. When I send out the follow-up email, I make sure I have both Jasmine, Dominique, and SoFire Nelson's, their contact information, so you all can reach out to them, and hopefully you all will set up some type of virtual session if you are not already connected with them. And I just thank you all so much. If y'all
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you. Love y'all.
Thank you.